And welcome to Behind the Spires. I'm Ed, and this is...
Hi guys, I'm Molly, and we are your friendly neighborhood city employees.
Yes, come join us Behind the Spires, where we will bring the business of Frederick forward, highlighting updates on Frederick's projects, policies, and events.
And guys, each week we're bringing a special guest behind the Spires with us, and this week we have our first ever
repeat
guest. First, not last time he's going to be on, we have Mayor Michael O'Connor back, and he is going to be answering some of our questions about the upcoming FY26 budget.
Yes. So it'll be interesting to hear what's in the budget, what's got to say, and some trivia at the end.
We'll see what happens.
If you're not watching us on video, catch our lovely mugs on YouTube at City of Frederick, Maryland. Of course, you can also listen to us at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and other podcasting services.
So a couple of things at the top before we jump into today's episode. I want you to give everyone a shout out to the Frederick Food Bank.
Yes, the Frederick Food Bank. We've mentioned it on a past couple, but they still need donations, guys.
Yes.
By donating, you can make a direct and meaningful impact on families, seniors, and individuals in need. Whether it's non-perishable food or hygiene items, every donation helps provide nourishment and hope to our neighbors. Non-perishable items include cereal, canned goods, pasta, and hygiene items like razors, toothbrushes, towels, and shampoo. You can donate directly to the food bank on 14 East All Saints Street.
Yes.
Now, every time I read that, you know what it feels like I'm reading?
What?
You remember those old commercials where they're going to school and it's like, you can take VCR repair.
Oh, yeah.
Television. That's what it feels like I'm saying.
Well, fantastic. And it's a good idea if you have a kid in school or you're part of a group, like get together and do like your own canned food drive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we joked about it before, but like, if you're holding a car wash for, fundraising, why don't you take some cans of food also?
Donations in the canned variety or shampoo, etc. Okay, a new shout out. Most recreational spaces aren't built with seniors in mind until now. So Seniorscapes is bringing the first park geared to older adults to the Monocacy Village Park this summer.
Wonderful.
Very exciting. So the groundbreaking was held on March 21st. And the space is going to offer fitness equipment, mobility challenges, balance stations, brain games, putting greens, sensory equipment, including music, all geared for seniors, which is super exciting. We've had a lot of people ask about what's the city doing for the older population, and this is it. This is one of the things I will say. The area is close to parking and bathrooms, and the entire space will be fenced in for added safety.
Wonderful.
And I feel like we've heard a lot from the community. They're very excited about this park.
Good.
And you should visit, if you want to know more, visit seniorscapes.org to learn more about Dr. Sue Paul. This is her vision, and she has been working to bring this into fruition for, I think, over a decade. And her organization, you can learn more about Seniorscapes and how they are helping build recreational spaces where seniors thrive.
Great. Only a couple more years and I can use it.
That's right, because you are closer to what number?
52.
No. But definitely check out seniorscapes.org, and we will be right back.
Thinking about starting a business? In the City of Frederick, your imagination knows no bounds. With the Department of Economic Development's help, you can take the leap to become an entrepreneur. We'll help you fire up your business plan. See the resources around you. Build relationships with community partners, and create a clear, clean path to opening your business. Together, we will plant your ideas and watch them grow. Let's get your business off the ground. Contact the City of Frederick for resources to start your small business today.
And we're back. Today, we have the wonderful Mayor Michael O'Connor with us today.
Our first repeat guest.
First repeat.
So we're very honored. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And so we wanted to provide everyone with an overview of the 2026 budget. And so to start off, let's get a big picture view. How does this year expand on previous years and preview the next several years?
I often say that the City of Frederick is in the service delivery business. So almost every budget is really about how do we make sure that we continue to effectively deliver the services at the high level that our residents, our businesses, and our visitors have come to expect from us. So this is a budget that really takes that and emphasizes it. We're really looking at who are the people who are in our organization now, what are the tools and things that they need. It's something that we do every budget, but because of some of the other things that are happening around us at the county and the state and the federal level, this is really a budget that focuses on how do we do the things that we already do to the best way that we possibly can.
Okay. And so, in other words, like, how does it keep us prepared for what's to come, like upcoming year, when you're talking about service?
Well, I think that every budget has to be both a document for today, but one that sets you up so that in subsequent years, you don't find yourself in a situation that you're not anticipating or that you don't expect. And we've been pretty fortunate in the city of Frederick over the last many years that our economy is comparatively good when you look at our peer jurisdictions and other levels of government around us. We're on solid financial footing. We're not seeing marked changes in revenue streams. Even during something as chaotic as the pandemic, we were fortunate in many respects because we were starting from a better place than a lot of other locations. And I think that kept us in a good place as we, maneuvered that. We're now in a different kind of chaotic time. And I think we're also well positioned because of where we are economically, that we can weather it. It's not a perfect situation because there are unknowns that we're going to have to deal with. The federal footprint in Frederick and surrounding areas is significant. And as that continues to evolve and change, at some point, we're going to see impacts from that. And we have to make sure that the budget that we put together for this year prepares us in the event that those impacts start to be felt in the next year or two.
Right. Now, how do factors like inflation, state and federal funding, or like economic conditions impact the budget itself?
Well, we're subject to inflation just like everybody else, whether it's how we have to look at cost of living allowances for our employees so that they continue to earn a competitive wage and have Frederick be an employer of choice. The goods and services that we buy every day are certainly impacted by inflation. Anything that happens at the federal level that may affect the price of any number of goods and services, vehicles that we have to purchase or materials that we need for projects that we're doing, that all is something that we have to account for.
Right.
And so there's a built-in inflationary factor as we look at our budget, just turning the page from June 30th to July 1, we have to build in what we anticipate fuel costs are going to be and the materials that we buy. And as I said, our employees. So that's a significant plug that just you're projecting what you think you're going to need when you're putting a budget like this together. These are the best educated guesses that you can possibly make in building a $200 and roughly $40 million total budget for the city of Frederick. State and federal impacts are a little bit more challenging. We don't necessarily rely heavily on state and federal revenues to fund general budget operations, but there are some areas where that funding is really critical. We're not seeing at this point a substantial change in what we think the state funding that comes to the city would look like. Those are primarily in buckets for highway user revenues, which we apply to street maintenance and street repairs, and our local state aid for police protection funding that goes in our police department. They're still relatively small pieces of those bigger budgets, but they're acute to both of those operational areas. The federal funding that we get is largely geared towards our housing and human services. It's our community services block grant, our health resources services administration grant, which does our health center, and CDBG funding that all flows sometimes directly to the city, sometimes through the state, but from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. As we continue to see changes in those federal operations, at this point, we've not heard about impacts to us, but we have to be prepared in the case that any of those funding streams should abruptly change, or the conditions to accept those funding are conditions that perhaps the city doesn't want to engage with.
Right. So it's a lot of like risk mitigation, like projecting, like you said, like the inflation stuff and any changes in federal funding. Like you have to account for all of that.
Because the last thing that we want to do is be into the budget mid-year. And this happened during COVID, where you're now saying, what happens if revenue streams should dry up overnight? What happens if the ways in which we do business are going to change in the middle of a budget year? So we're trying to be responsible in how we approach a full year's worth of funding, in the hopes that we're not going to see any mid-year adjustments that we have to take care of. But that's all part of the preparation that has to go. And you have to think about today and tomorrow, and you have to build on what you were doing yesterday, because it doesn't make much sense to, particularly in this budget, we're not thinking about how we can do lots of really fancy and interesting new things, because the future is a little bit uncertain, but we're on a good foundation.
Yeah. And to continue services, like you said, and be service oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's favorite topic, taxes. What happens with the taxes collected from city residents?
The taxes collected from city residents are what are used to provide the services to our residents. So it's important for us, and we're maintaining the property tax rate again in this budget for the 12th consecutive year. It's important for us to make sure that as we set that property tax rate, that we are not asking our residents to provide one more penny than what's necessary to deliver the services that our residents expect. So that's police protection. It's everything that a Department of Public Works does, from trash collection to street maintenance to park maintenance. It's the back of the house operations, having a financial department and a legal department, the work we do in economic development, housing and human services, human resources, legal services. We're a full service city operation, with an airport and a theater and a golf course and 76 parks and miles of sidewalks and streets and stormwater infrastructure and water and sewer services. All of that is provided through both the taxes that people provide, property primarily, but income tax as well, and the user fees, whether it's water and sewer rates, parking fees for the fees you pay to play golf. The goal is to be as self-sufficient and as stable as we possibly can.
Yes, I mean, like you said, it sounds like the taxes collected is like the backbone of being able to do anything here with the city. Along with that, comes like efficiency. And what does efficiency mean for you, and how does it be addressed in this budget?
Almost from the day I became mayor, my objective was to look at how we could do the work that we did every day smarter. How could we use technology in ways that we had not previously considered, that can make the work that we do on behalf of our residents, our residents, our businesses, our visitors, better and more effective. To me, that's what efficiency is. It's looking at what you do, making sure that what you do matters to the people that you're doing it for, and then using whatever tools and technology you have available to do that. Whether that was implementing a Microsoft 365 environment from a timing standpoint just before the pandemic hit, which eased our transition into hybrid and remote work environments. Had we not made those steps in investment in technology, who knows how we would have weathered those first months of the pandemic. It's our OpenGov software that we have now to create a more seamless online permitting process and to allow for those applications to move faster, and how we continue to integrate elements of OpenGov into other things that we do, that continued expansion of that technology. We're looking in this budget about additional AI investment how we can responsibly and ethically use AI to improve service delivery to our residents, to create that asynchronous opportunity for residents to get answers to their questions and understand what we're doing at times of the day and times of the week, times of the year when it isn't convenient or wouldn't be worthwhile to pick up a phone and try and call and talk to somebody. So the technology piece becomes, I think, the most effective way that we can think about being efficient. And that allows us to then look at, as the city continues to grow, we know the workforce has to grow with it, but this is a budget that's very restrained when it comes to adding new positions. The positions that we are talking about are really targeted to some of those areas that both I and the city council have identified as really important for the next steps that the city needs to take.
I like how you said too, like integrating AI like ethically and safely, and just from a web perspective, like it is so easy now to get on to some websites, and some government and county websites to go on and say like, I need help finding this page on the website, and they're like, here you go, and it pops you right there. So it just makes task management for our residents takes finding stuff from 5 minutes to like 30 seconds.
And
That's
AI is
cool.
also a hot button topic right now. So
Yeah.
being able to do it like ethically and
Yes.
efficiently, a lot of people appreciate that.
Yeah, I do. So are you particularly excited about one item in the budget?
This is not, for me, unlike some other budgets that I've put together, is not a budget that is exciting in that way. I don't think about a particular new program or new something that we're doing because this isn't a budget that looks at the city in the coming year that way. I would say one of the most impactful things that we're going to do with this budget is add about $500,000 that we think is going to be necessary to continue expansion of the citywide composting program. And so I think that's a real opportunity to make sure that as our residents continue to learn and understand how that program works, and we see the uptake on that continue, that we are building in the resources necessary to continue to provide that service. And we know that if we can get more of our residents actively taking their organic materials out of the waste stream, that's going to help us on the solid waste side in terms of what we're doing in the trash collection area. It's not a dollar for dollar offset. We've done this long enough now to know that we're not going to reduce our waste stream by a sufficient amount that it's going to save us the same amount of money as it's going to cost us to do composting, but it's the right thing to do in terms of making sure that those organic materials are not getting buried in a landfill somewhere or sent off to, someone else's waste disposal system, when we can use those in this community and in this region to help in any number of ways that compost can do. So it's not a budget that I wish I had like really interesting and exciting things to tell you, but we're not in that place right now as a city looking at our county, state, and federal counterparts. And so this is really a budget that's very measured in terms of the approach that we want to take. How do we continue to deliver high quality services and do that in a responsible way?
I know a lot of people that are excited about composting, so I think that's pretty exciting. Shout out to all my ladies at the gym, Erin and Brittany. They're big composters in the city, so I think that's a very exciting thing to do.
Now, the budget's big, but, what tough decisions did you have to make with all the different requests that were coming in from the different departments and everything?
Well, I mean, every decision is tough because there is a point at some point in the list of requests that you get where you have to draw the line.
Right.
Because we're not going to look lightly at whether we have to adjust our revenues in order to do more. And we don't have to. I mean, we're able to do some moderately better things with this, but you have to say no. And not every request can be funded. The way in which we go through this process, though, our directors and the managers that are looking at these budgets, they understand that. So we ask them when they're submitting their requests to prioritize so that we know that when we do have to draw that line in someone's budget, that they're getting, that the things that they are getting are more important than the things that they're not getting. And there is an opportunity for us to, negotiate a little bit through that process. The hard part is that it's difficult to compare the work of one department against the work of another department. To tell both the police department and the Department of Public Works about the important work that they do every day, but to not say, well, that means that the work that we're doing in human resources or in IT are less important somehow. So we try and make sure that everybody gets the things that they think that they need to keep doing what they're doing. But we always have more requests than we have funds available to support them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you talked a little bit about how departments come and give like a business case of why, they recommend a certain thing, but
I don't think of it as a business case,
Oh.
just to be clear. I think of it as a community service case because we're in the service business. So we're not trying to make business decisions about how we run city government. We're trying to make decisions based on what our residents want, what our residents need, because we're a service provider from every piece of this operation. And we're not in money to make business. We're not in business to make money.
right.
And so we don't make decisions based on a bottom line calculation. We make it based on a service delivery calculation.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Very
approach,
nice
line of
correction.
thinking.
Thank you. How do you include residents in the budget process? How can they be engaged in this whole thing?
Nothing about what happens in government is as intuitive as I think we would want it to be, and municipal budgeting certainly falls into that bucket of non-intuitive things. It's a lot of effort, I think, to try and understand how all of these pieces fit together. I think we try and do as good a job as we can to help our residents be informed about that. There's always improvements that we can make about how we talk to our residents about this process and where they can engage and the connection points. We did listening sessions back in the late fall and winter to hear from the community about what was important to them. We will put the budget out on the street. It's out on the street, and there's opportunities now through the council's process for the community to come in and attend those hearings and give their opinion about what's going on. We have a budget feedback form that's always available through the city's website so that people can weigh in using that as well. Love to hear from our residents. With 85,000 of them, I can tell you when budget time comes around, we're not getting anywhere near that number of people actively engaged in what we want. But we do hear regularly throughout the year about what's important to our residents, whether that's transportation and traffic calming and public safety and general facilities maintenance and all of those kinds of things. That feedback that we get throughout the year, not just during budget time, we remember that and we try and use that to inform the budget that we put together.
So that's a good plug for everyone to check out the website. There's the FY26 budget page where we have the feedback form, and it also lists all of the public meetings and the different budget topics that the city council will be hearing on. So put that in the notes.
Right there.
Okay.
Now, how will you end up gauging the success of the budget within this next year? I know sometimes it's hard to see the big picture when it takes, a whole year to do. How do you view?
I mean, I think the success shows up in throughout the year in terms of how the city engages with its residents, and our residents provide that feedback on what it is that we're doing. I have no doubts that we're going to continue to deliver high quality services to our residents. Things will change, things that we can't even anticipate today, and how we respond to those changes is a gauge of our success. We have to construct ourselves in a way that makes us nimble to meet whatever the unforeseen dynamics might be. Dramatic changes in how the state or federal government operates over the coming months is going to have an impact on what we do here in the city of Frederick. We have to position ourselves to make sure that we can weather whatever that change may look like. The success of a budget is often measured by our residents, not really by me. We're trying to maintain a consistent, competent, and compassionate approach to how we look at the work that we do every day. And my belief is that if we, use those concepts to inform our decision-making process, At the end of the day, we can have really constructive conversations with our residents about the work that we do, and hopefully have them satisfied, maybe wanting more, but are being able to explain to them why we think this is sufficient now, is how we'll look at success.
That's cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. If everyone wants to know more about the budget, we do have the budget video that's going to be up on our website, up on YouTube, and all the things, so they can check out your budget video. But compassionate, consistent, community service, competent. I was like, I'm missing a C word, but I can't remember. Okay. So we're so happy that you gave us that overview of the budget. Now, are you ready for another round of quick round trivia?
I am. If I can also just say a quick thank you to our budget staff and to our directors and to the people who really do the work to pull all this together. This is a task that's been 6 months. We're dropping the budget now, but our budget office has been working on this, and our departments and department heads and directors have been working on this since last fall. We'll open the next budget year, and our staff will almost immediately have to begin thinking about the next budget cycle. So they do really great work, and I couldn't do the work that I do without them. So thank you to the budget team and to all of our leadership across the city.
I will say I started in September and they were talking about the budget, so that is true. They were talking about the upcoming budget. Okay. So quick round trivia.
Quick round trivia. Now, last time we're here, I offered you a pepper.
Okay.
I've changed it up a little bit. So now I offer everybody some
There's this little plug.
hot sauce.
Hot sauce. Okay.
And this one actually comes right down here in Frederick, McCutcheon's Kitchen.
Okay.
So if you'd like to
You're
try
going to
some.
do it.
Yes, but
Lance
sure.
did it and he almost died.
Well, I'm going to try not to almost die.
Okay.
You can hold that one. Let me get this open for you. Now, this one is not quite as hot as one Lance had, but I think it tastes pretty good.
Okay. Before we start, should we do one question without it, or should we do all the questions with it?
I think it's more fun with
Is it somehow going to change? I'll be responsible for the floor. Yeah, thank you very much.
I feel like if Ed does it, it's going to be
A
like
whole
a
spoonful?
shot. Exactly.
That's
There
it.
you go.
That's even more than I wanted.
And so you said this is McCutcheon's, right
This is
here in
McCutcheon's,
Frederick.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Tell us what you think. Good? Ready to go?
I think I'm ready to go.
Okay,
Let's
great.
go.
During the Civil War, this is Frederick-related trivia, okay? During the Civil War, how much did Confederate troops demand in ransom to spare Frederick from destruction?
I don't know what the number was. I know that they demanded a ransom and that we paid it. And for decades after the Civil War, our state senator from Frederick, Charles Mack Mathias, introduced legislation every year in Congress to have our banks repaid
Oh, really?
for what they laid out for that ransom. We've never gotten the money back.
Oh,
I don't know what the number
That's
is.
better trivia. That you gave us trivia on trivia. So the answer is $20,000.
Okay.
Okay?
And 20,000 then,
Probably billions.
Yeah.
Now, which cemetery in Frederick is the final resting place of Francis Scott Key?
That would be Mount Olivet Cemetery. St. John's Cemetery, the final resting place of Roger Brooke Tawney, but that's a different conversation.
We got trivia on trivia.
Heck yeah.
Okay, last question. What is the nickname for Frederick's famous historic church steeples?
Clustered spires.
Yes.
Yay!
I was going to say behind the what?
Behind the...
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So
Up-
you did
up from the meadows.
that a poem?
The John Greenleaf Whittier poem.
Oh,
Rich with corn,
another
the
trivia on
clustered
trivia.
spires of Frederick stand, green walled by the hills of Maryland.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh,
Little
beautiful.
did he know he wrote the questions for us.
Exactly. Okay, Mayor, thank you so much for being with us
My
today.
pleasure.
We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it, and we hope
Loved
you
it.
come back.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Great. I'll have a new one for you next time.
Awesome.
we'll be back.
Here's the City of Frederick's manager of sustainability, Jenny Willoughby, with a water conservation tip.
Install low-flow fixtures in your home. If your home is old, you may have a look at all of your water faucets, your shower heads, and check them to see if they are low flow. You can easily replace them.
This April, join the National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation. Take the pledge today at mywaterpledge.com.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys.
And I'm going to hand it over to Molly to welcome us back in.
Hello, I'm so good at welcoming us back in.
You did great.
That we also, I want to
You did
tell
great.
you, I panicked. That was an awesome interview.
It was.
I learned a lot. I feel like I got a ton of info because from our perspective, we just have like our managers and leadership provide recommendations for the budget
Yeah.
and then like where it goes from there. But like people work so hard on, like you said, forecasting, like risk mitigation and making sure all the services that this provides.
Exactly. It is one thing to ask for something.
Yeah.
But I think it's very responsible for all of the different departments that we have that they're asking for things that are actually helpful.
Service oriented.
Yes, very service oriented. How does it get back to the people?
Exactly. Yeah. So speaking of the people, City Hall has a new exhibition. April is Month of the Young Child, you guys.
Yep.
And so we have a new artwork exhibition here in Art in City Hall. This particular exhibit showcases colorful drawings and small sculptures by children ages 2 to 7 who are part of Frederick's Children of Incarcerated Parents Partnership, or COIP. And that's really cute. And it also includes photos and personal stories from the members of the Frederick Youth Council, who we're going to be having on the podcast, you guys, highlighting their experiences, challenges, and hopes for their community. We're really grateful to COIP and to the Transformative Arts Project for their collaboration in bringing this exhibit to life. And that exhibit is going to be open through May 2nd. So come check it out. And they had Layla, who is head of arts and culture, just had a refreshments. What am I trying to say? Reception.
Yes. Reception.
For the Women's History Month exhibit. So I don't know if they'll be having another one, but we will keep you updated.
Yes, absolutely. Other than that,
yes,
we will be holding our next City Council public meeting on April 17th at 6 p.m. here in City Hall. And if you want to get the full listing of public meetings, just head on over to our website, cityoffrederickmd.gov.
Fantastic.
And the April NAC meetings with our community engagement specialist, Shawan Brightful, are still ongoing. You can find these dates and locations for each NAC meeting on our website. Also, again, cityoffrederickmd.gov.
Love it. It's springtime, y'all, which
It's
means
springtime.
spring and summer is here.
Means lots of sneezing.
That's correct. I was just telling Ed my allergies are already acting up. Our city parks and rec have a ton of events coming up. So they have brand new agricultural programs available. You can peruse their catalog on the website. And don't forget to check out all of the wonderful programs they have for the kiddos this summer.
Yes.
And on April 19th, we're all going to be there. We'll be hosting our Spring Rec Fest event from 11 to 2. They have a variety of activities around Baker Park, including the annual egg hunt. Pre-registration is required for the egg hunt.
Yes.
So go to the web. Our Earth Day celebration, amusements, and the Tally Rec Center open house, where you can learn about different programs that they demo. I'm excited about that.
It's going to be a big, fun day.
And then what else do we have going on for Parks and Rec?
We have the annual youth football camp, which takes place May 24th at Hill Street Park. This is a free event for those in kindergarten through 12th. And again, pre-registration is required. If I go get a school ID
No.
Oh.
Ed is not doing. Although last time we talked to Celebrate Frederick, we were like, can we be the elves in the Kris Kringle? If we want to be included in everything.
I said I'll be Rudolph.
Yes, exactly. But I think the name of the game for Parks and Rec is go to playfrederick.com.
Yes.
Because they have all of the programs and you can pre-register for all the things you need to pre-register
And
for.
then see a full list of everything that they have to offer and anything we didn't mention.
Check it out. So our next podcast episode is going to be dropping on or around April 14th.
April 14th.
We just talked about the schedule, so like April 14th, I
Fresh
think.
in our minds.
So we want to hear from you. Please email us at behindthespires@cityoffrederickmd.gov.
If only I could say behind the spires at cityoffrederickmd.gov.
That's behindthespires@cityoffrederickmd.gov to let us know what you want to hear, what questions you have, who you'd like us to interview.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give this a shout out. We're going to be doing a special episode on programs and resources for federal employees because we got a lot of questions on that. So please, please, please email us and let us know what you want to hear.
Absolutely. And if you have any comments or if you just want to say, hey, Ed, that's a nice shirt, email us to let us know. If we like it, maybe we'll read it.
Oh, you're just going to read the ones that say you have a nice shirt.
Maybe.
That's correct. Okay, give us all the like and subscribe.
All right, here's all the business at the end. Remember to like and subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and YouTube.
Oh my goodness.
Also, before we dip back behind the spires, we ask just a teeny tiny little favor. Tell your friends about your time here with us. And if you get a chance, a simple 5-star review. You can even do that right in your podcast app.
And didn't you just put us on another platform because a resident asked for it?
Yes. So if there's a platform that we're not on and you actually prefer to use that, email us, let us know, and I'll see if I can get us on there.
Do you remember what it was called or no? Not
I
off the top of
don't
your
off
head.
the top of my head, but
Either
it was very
way,
simple.
It's different than Spotify and Apple.
Yeah.
The resident asked to be put on. And so it takes a second for us to
Yeah,
just
that's
put
all
us
it
up.
is. So let us know, and we'll put it on there. Again, just email us at behindthespires@cityoffrederickmd.gov.
Perfect.
Uh,
Take us out. Take us out, buddy.
Let's head on home. You can
Take us
even
home.
do that in your app, like I mentioned. Now, your support will help us grow, and we'd really appreciate it. But I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us behind the spires. And remember,
Go.
here we go. I'm gonna bring it in.
This is his Captain Kangaroo Sesame Street moment. Go.
Yes.
You don't remember Captain
I do
Kangaroo?
remember Captain
Okay, keep
Kangaroo.
going. Keep going.
Kindness costs us nothing, but it means everything.
Oh, that's really nice. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.